Hi again, hockey fans. Welcome into week number 6 of CCHA Now. Ben Holden, along with our CCHA Productions crew, coming to you from the $50 million Compton Family Ice Arena. It was a handful of years ago when they started the process of building this. It's an absolute palace is what I call it. It's a bit cathedral. It's got an amazing feel. It's got a Notre Dame feel to it. In fact, there was a beam that many of those involved in the start of the project, they signed, and it's somewhere in the rafters now, firmly in place here at the Comp, as I like to call it. Well, we're on location. Michigan State was in town this past weekend, a big series. And let's see now in our top 10 plays of the week if any moments from these two games here at the Compton Family Ice Arena between the Irish and the Spartans ended up in the top 10. Play number 10 takes us to Pittsburgh. Buckeyes in a non-conference home-and-home with Robert Morris and Devin Crow, the senior leader for Ohio State, with a nice power play goal here. Great setup from Alex Shahur on Saturday to tie the game at 1-1. The game would end in a 2-2 tie. Play number 9 takes us to Oxford, Ohio. Those red-hot Redhawks hosting the upset-minded Lakers of Lake State. Dominic Minardo, the Lakers senior leader, comes through the lone goal in the game on Saturday night in a 1-0 win. More to come from this game later in the plays of the week. Over to the Comp in South Bend on Friday, Irish and the Spartans. Brent Darnell, the sophomore, can shoot it. Sick rip here by Steven Summerhays. Darnell had 2 goals in a 3-2 Notre Dame win, however. This one, though, the prettiest of the two. To Kalamazoo, play number 7, the 2012 CCHA Tournament MVP, flashing some leather against Ferris State on Friday. The Big Slabowski, also known as Frank Slabowski, with a fine piece of goaltending in a 4-2 Broncos win. Play number 6 takes us back to South Bend. Saturday night, Irish and Spartans. David Gerst, very good physical player, but he's very good and alert here, jamming home the puck on Will Yanikev in a 5-1 Irish win. Speaking of the Irish, they're led this season by junior Anders Lee, and our crew caught up with Anders this weekend in South Bend, and they talked with him about being the captain of the Irish in 2012.
Definitely an honor, knowing that I have the support of my teammates and the coaching staff, and to help represent this university. And we got a lot of leaders in that locker room. All great upperclassmen, and the freshmen, the sophomores. Everyone's on the same page right now. Really buying into that team aspect, and that you can see that on the ice. When we're down or we face a little bit of adversity, we're able to overcome it.
Right there, right there. 2 guys each.
Well, as we've done each and every week here on CCHA Now, we continue to celebrate the legacy. This, of course, the 42nd and final season of the CCHA. And there have been many great players and many great coaches in this league over the years. There's been plenty of great officials, too. The most popular one is the man known as Pi, Steve Petrowski. Here now, we look back in a special retrospective look from 1992 at the career of Steve Petrowski.
The very first penalty's got to be a good penalty. Something that may be injurious, an obvious foul, or something that may have taken away a scoring opportunity.
Petrowski did his job, and he did it well, and he still is today. He's highly respected in the great sport of college hockey. He's officiated 6 national championship games, and he's helped train dozens of officials that are still working in the game today. In fact, he oversees the 55 officials in the CCHA.
Things that I enjoy most is being a part of the game. I was a college hockey player.
Once the 42nd and final season of the CCHA is complete, Petrowski will take his talents to the Big Ten Conference, where next year he'll become the director of officials.
Don't start crying about it now. It's too early for that. Too early for that.
Well, indeed, the home of the Fighting Irish, and we're here in the atrium, the second level of the Compton Family Ice Arena. And last week in our CCHA Awards, 2 Notre Dame players were represented. Anders Lee was the Offensive Player of the Week, and Mario Lucia was the Rookie of the Week. Let's see if Notre Dame and Michigan State, the team they were playing this past weekend, were represented in this week's Players of the Week. Post-game Offensive Player of the Week comes from Western Michigan, Dane Walters, who scored twice, including the game winner in a victory over Ferris State on Friday. He added an assist in a 2-1 win over the Bulldogs on Saturday. Our Gladiator Defenseman of the Week, Bobby Shea from Bowling Green, the senior, had 2 assists in a 3-2 victory at Alaska on Friday. He added 2 more assists Saturday in a 3-3 tie with the Nanooks. He finished the weekend +5 and had 3 block shots. Our Warrior goaltender of the week, Kevin Murdoch from Bradenton, Florida. He stopped 46 shots and was the #1 star on Saturday night against Miami in a 1-0 shutout on the road. And the Gong Show Rookie of the Week for the second straight week comes from Notre Dame. Mario Lucia had a goal and an assist and was the Peroni Cup first star in a 3-2 win over MSU on Friday. He had an assist in a 5-1 win over the Spartans on Saturday. Well, it's that time of the show where we look at this week's USCHO.com Top 20 poll. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame move up 2 spots to number 3. The Miami Redhawks drop 2 to number 5. Andy Murray and the Western Michigan Broncos having a good stretch of games. They've won 5 in a row. They're in at number 7 where they were last week. And Ferris State down at number 19. The Bulldogs, after getting swept by Western Michigan, dropped 3 in this week's poll. On the CCHA schedule this week, on Friday on the Big Ten Network, Miami is in Columbus at 7:05. On CBS Sports Network Friday, Western Michigan at Michigan for a huge series. Northern Michigan against Lake State on Friday as well. On Saturday on Comcast, 5:05 start time, Ferris State at Michigan State. Notre Dame takes on Bowling Green at 7:05. Northern Michigan and Lake State continue their series, as do the Wolverines and the Broncos, and the Redhawks and the Buckeyes. Well, the Notre Dame pep band does a great job here at the Compton Family Ice Arena getting the crowd into it. And we're going to shift our attention right now, though, to our Celebrate the Legacy moment this week. It involves former Ohio State goaltender Bill McKenzie. He'll tell us the story about a plane trip that involved the Buckeye hockey team, one of the founding members of the CCHA, way back in 1972. It was a trip back from Colorado.
Bowling Green, OU, obviously, Notre Dame, those teams we always bust because it was kind of like the CCHA now, pretty close. However, when we did go to St. Louis, we had a DC-3. And if you remember way back then, DC-3 was involved in the crash of the Marshall football team. And, but I remember going to St. Louis the one time. We might have been going through, or it might have been Air Force Academy, and we were going through Denver. And we were on this little DC-3, my God. Equipment, managers, players, and we got revving up going down the runway, and the pilot kind of stopped and pulled over and said, you know, we're too heavy. We got to take the sticks off. At that moment, I think it was about 6 guys that wanted to say, why don't you leave the sticks on? I'll volunteer to stay here. But needless to say, you know, we had our own DC. I don't think we'd have been flying commercial if we hadn't had our own University DC-3. Pretty exciting time for a kid out of Windsor, Ontario. Didn't think he'd ever play college hockey flying around the country in the university plane.
And this week, Celebrate the Legacy Team of the Week here on CCHA Now and on CCHA.com. The 2004 Ohio State Buckeyes. John Markle's team won the CCHA tournament. They beat the Michigan Wolverines 4-2 that year. They were led by players like Rod Pelly and goaltender Dave Caruso. This week's Celebrate the Legacy Team of the Week. And now it's time for our top 5 plays of the week here on CCHA Now. And in at number 5, the Bulldogs of Ferris State representing Garrett Thompson. Great feed to Travis Ouellette, who does the rest. Nifty moves and finishes backhand for the Bulldogs. Up to Alaska, play number 4, senior Andy Toronto in the shootout. He knows how to finish. Only goal of the shootout is the Nanooks take the extra point against Bowling Green. In at number 3, we stay in Alaska, those tricky Bowling Green Falcons. Marcus Perrier and Dan DeSalvo working together on the power play. Then DeSalvo lets the puck go by him, and Mark Cooper there to rip it home for the well-designed and well-executed power play tally for Bowling Green. They took 4 points up in Alaska this weekend. Play number 2 takes us back to Oxford, Ohio. Saturday night, Kevin Murdoch, the junior from Bradenton, Florida, as hot as the Florida sun, robbing Austin Zarnik. Murdoch with 46 saves in a 1-0 Lakers win, snapping the Redhawks' 8-game unbeaten streak. And in at number 1 this week, Super Mario. Great video game. And Super Mario Lucia of Notre Dame is becoming quite the player. Sick power play one-timer here from Tynan on Friday. Oh, but wait, there's more. Later in the game, watch the placement of the pass by Lucia, who returns the favor to Tynan. Doesn't get much better than that. Well done by those 2 guys. And we want to let you know, too, folks, Lucia, one of 4 CCHA players that will be heading to Team USA's training camp for the World Juniors. You can see why Mario Lucia is one of those 4.
Welcome to Notre Dame. Go Irish! Now back to Ben.
Well, I love seeing the kids at the rink, and thanks to you young folks for helping us out here on CCHA Now. Our shift is ended here from the Compton Family Ice Arena. We'll be at Michigan State next week for our on-location shoot of CCHA Now number 7. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course on CCHA.com. Hope you enjoyed it this week from South Bend and Notre Dame. Till next week, Ben Holden saying thanks for watching and enjoy the games.